A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 120.
All big changes start with a swift kick in the ass.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.
Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran, and today's episode, What's in a Name and Why It's Important. I'm sure we've all been called lots of names throughout our lives, and I'm not really talking about bad names. I'm talking about names like dad, brother, employee, grunt, lover, loser, and friend. All these different names are labels that get attached to our identity. I think we see ourselves in these labels, and these labels set forth expectations of behavior. And they all have something in common, these labels. That do lend to an identity. Of course, if you're a dad, that means you had a child, and you're a father, or a mother. Mom or dad. I guess what I'm saying is that we wear many, many hats, and we're called many, many different names. So there is something to be said about a name. But this is not what the podcast is really about. The podcast is about names that we call ourselves and how that connects with our identity and how we see ourselves. When we're called a brother or a father or a dad or whatever we're being called by somebody else, that's an external label. That's an external source of how we identify ourselves. That's what someone calls us. And oftentimes it's connected to an event that we were a part of in the past. Such as having a child. That makes you dad. You join the club. When your mom or dad has a little baby brother or has another child, you become a brother or sister. Or maybe, you already had one. Whatever it is, these are just labels. But they're not just labels, they're extremely powerful things in our lives that I'm trying to get you to think a little bit more about, because they are so powerful. And I think that if you can connect to these labels, to how you're feeling or what you're going through, your situation, I think you can perhaps come up with ways to leverage that to help you renegotiate the terms of your life. If you're trying to change yourself, perhaps you want to start looking at your labels and the labels that you're applying to yourself, and then how to change those labels. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not even a therapist. I'm not licensed in any way, shape, or form. So this is just my opinion, not clinical. I just want to get you to think. And these are things that I think about and I know that have shaped my life. So, some of these labels reflect bonds that can never be broken. Once you become a father, you're a father. Once two people become lovers, and they have that shared moment, then that is also forever. That's a bond that you might not remember. Alcohol getting people laid for thousands of years. You might not remember, but it doesn't change the fact that you were there and there was a bond. And an experience that can't be taken away. Nor can, the skills and the knowledge, not necessarily reflected about, having sex. It's not what this is about either. But this is about the connection between how other people see you and how you see yourself, and the labels that you attach to yourself and to what you're going through. Because perception is everything. So I have to ask you again, how do you see yourself? Now, my 15-year-old daughter recently and I were talking, and she let me know. She says, I sometimes feel like we're just a little speck in the universe. She's telling me that she feels small and inconsequential, like nothing really matters. And I can understand that, absolutely. But I get a different feeling from that. In fact, I guess what I've learned is that, how I view my place in the world, and my place in the universe and my understanding of life, it all plays into my view of the world and my life. So I don't see myself as this small, inconsequential speck. I see myself as small and mighty, and also having the freedom to live my life as I choose, because everything in this world, in this life, is all important and not important at all at the same time. There's a quote that really, I think, applies here, and it's from Osho. He says, "Life in itself has no meaning. Life is an opportunity to create meaning." Think about that. I'm going to say it again because I think it's so deep and so cool. Life in itself has no meaning. Life is an opportunity to create meaning. It sounds like words of wisdom. We can justify the labels that we see get attached to our identity. We could see that. We can justify that in any way, shape, or form. And there really is no right or wrong, because, again, it's everything and nothing all at the same time. And a lot of these things can be changed. Some things can't, but some things can. And the way you see yourself, I definitely believe that you can. I think another kind of quote too, as far as, what is the meaning of life, and if we're just these small inconsequential specks, what's it matter? And Jordan Peterson, I think, said it best. He said, "The purpose of life, as far as I can tell, is to find a mode of being that's so meaningful that the fact that life is suffering is no longer relevant." Now, what brings meaning to your life? What brings meaning to my life? It's going to be different for everybody. And it's definitely going to be impacted by how we see ourselves and how we label ourselves. The labels that we attach to our identity really can be seen as guides to behaviors and what society expects from us as operating under those labels. And it also identifies a path, too. And, each path is different. I'll just use a real-life example. So you come across 2 different paths, or 3 different paths. It doesn't matter the number. But they're all different. One has strawberries. One has blueberries. One has walnuts. Each path offers a little bit something different. And you could change paths along the way. So why not try the blueberry path and have that a little bit? And then, eat some walnuts. And then go down the path that has the nice, cool stream. Life is an adventure. And life has many paths. And sometimes we need to make our own path. That's what life on your own terms is really all about. It's about creating a path in your life that's meaningful. I'm not going to tell you what is meaningful in your life. Only you can do that. So what are you trying to get to? Or what are you trying to do? Or where are you trying to get to? And also, what's the hurry? Enjoy life. Things can happen and life changes in a New York minute. Here today, gone tomorrow. It seems like yesterday, but Tom's been gone over a year now. And he exists in spirit and in my heart. But the past is really only in our mind. The past is gone. It's never coming back. And clinging on to the past does cause pain, because when you resist change and you try to cling on to things, that's what really causes the pain in our life. We need to let things flow and let life flow through us and around us and be a part of life. And Tom's life is over, unfortunately. But mine is here, and I'm loving life. I'll never forget Tom, and Tom is a part of me, and we have a bond that is forever as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm around. But he's gone, and it's time to move on, time to get going. Our time is limited here, and I've learned another quote, and I think it's a perfect way to kind of end, because life, limits create opportunities. And if you really think about that, it's so very true. When you place yourself, when you know that you have limits and you're limited, you start searching for an answer and a solution and a way to get what you want based on what you have at hand, or based on the situation, or based on those limits. So it really gets you thinking, and it gets you moving. And the more limited you are, and the more you struggle and you have to think to figure out a way, the more likely you're going to get exactly what you want, or at least get closer to that. So keep striving, and pay attention to labels, what other people are calling you and what you're calling yourself more specifically. But be careful, because while good intentions seem good, and they often are, they're not always good. And what other people think of you might not be coming from a good, honest place. It's probably biased according to what's going on in their life and what's impacting their worldview at the time and the challenges that they face. Just like when I get on this podcast, it's definitely influenced by what's going on in my own life. So trust and value people's opinions, and also trust and value how you see yourself. Have confidence in yourself, but be open to kind of looking at things to say, and putting some checks and balances in place, maybe, to say, you know what? This isn't the way I'm thinking about myself. It's not really true. It's not really accurate. And maybe that was true in the past, and it's not true anymore. And if that's the case, it's time to let go. And it's time to figure out why you're clinging to that, maybe. And just acknowledging it sometimes will allow the thought to pass. So we are constantly changing and constantly improving, and I plan on being here to be a constant kick in your ass, to get you motivated, to get your ass moving, and inspire you to create positive change in your own life. So until the next episode, this is your host, John Curran. This is a swift kick in the ass. Peace and chicken grease.
This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.